I first saw it 2 months ago. A tall, thin silhouette standing motionless behind the curtain. At the time, I thought it was a trick of the streetlight outside, but the longer I stared, the clearer it became. The outline wasn't from the lamp. It was too sharp, too defined, too deliberate. The next night, it appeared again. Same spot, same posture, always right after midnight. I tried convincing myself it was just a shadow cast by something outside. So I pressed my face to the window, expecting to see a tree, a lamppost, anything that could explain it. But there was nothing outside except the empty parking lot, a dead streetlight, and the black outline of the woods. Yet, when I stepped back, the silhouette was there again. That was the first moment I felt something watching me instead of the other way around. For a week, I avoided the window completely. I kept the curtains shut, locked them with pins, stacked boxes in front of them, anything so I wouldn't see it. But each night, without fail, I heard the whisper of fabric shifting, the curtain moving, like someone brushing it with their fingertips. One night, I forced myself to look. Slowly, carefully, I pulled the curtain back just an inch. The silhouette was closer. Before, it had been at the far end of the window. Now, it was right in the center, like it had stepped forward. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I started changing my routine, going to bed later, turning on every light, sleeping on the couch. Nothing helped. At 12:03 a.m., the curtain always moved. The silhouette always came back. Then, 3 nights ago, something changed. I woke up not at midnight, but at 3:17 a.m., which was weird because the silhouette was never there at that time. The room was silent. Then, the curtain slid open on its own. Not all the way, just enough for me to see outside. There was nothing. No shadow, no figure, no outline. The relief hit me so hard that I almost laughed until I noticed the reflection on the glass. It wasn't outside the window. It was behind me, standing so close I could see the shape of its head tilt slightly like it was studying me. I turned on every light I could reach. When I finally built up the courage to look again, the reflection was gone. But the next morning, I found something new. Fingerprints. On the inside of the window. Long, narrow prints, too tall to be mine. I don't open the window anymore. I don't even go near it. But every night at 12:03, even with everything closed, I still hear the curtain move. I'm starting to understand. The silhouette was never outside. It was always inside, trying not to be seen. It started because I snore. At least that's what my coworkers told me. So, like an idiot, I downloaded one of those sleep recording apps that activates when it hears noise. I expected to catch myself snoring, maybe talking in my sleep. I didn't expect what I found. The first night was normal. Small rustles, a few breaths, a weird groan when I rolled over. The second night had nothing at all. The third night, 3:28 a.m., the app picked up a voice. At first, I thought it was mine, a low whisper, barely audible. But when I listened closer, the app glitched for a moment and replayed the sample slower than normal. It wasn't my voice. It wasn't even close. The whisper was layered, 2, maybe 3 tones speaking at once, and the words were soft, distant, like someone was standing at the far corner of my room. I genuinely thought I recorded the TV or something outside, but then I noticed the volume meter. The waveform spiked from inside the room. The voice was recorded inches from the phone. I tried brushing it off as some corrupted audio file until the next night. 3:29 a.m. A new recording. This time, no whisper, just breathing. Slow, heavy, wet, like someone breathing through a partially open mouth. I slept with my door locked that night, but the following morning the recording was still there, except this time the breathing wasn't alone. At the very end, barely a second long, something tapped the microphone directly. A soft, sharp sound, like a finger pressing the phone's surface. I checked the video feed from my phone's front camera. Nothing. Black screen. But the recording kept coming every night, at the exact same minute. Breathing, then tapping, then silence. Last night, I decided to leave the phone on record while fully awake. I laid still in bed, pretending to sleep. 3:27 a.m. Nothing. 3:29 a.m. Nothing. 3:30 a.m. Nothing. I almost fell asleep from the waiting, and then something touched my shoulder. Not slowly, not gently. It pressed down like a hand with long fingers. I froze. I didn't breathe. Whatever it was stayed there for at least 10 seconds. Then it moved away. I gathered what little courage I had and grabbed the phone. The app was still running, but there was only one recording. Just one. I hit play. It was breathing. Deep, steady breathing. But it wasn't recorded from across the room. It was recorded directly into the microphone, like lips pressed against it. And at the end of the clip, my own voice whispered, "Don't move." The thing is, I wasn't speaking. I live in a small apartment on the 3rd floor. It's quiet, too quiet, especially late at night. The hallway outside my door always felt a little wrong, like the air there was heavier than the rest of the building. 3 nights ago, I was brushing my teeth when I heard it. A whisper. My name. Soft, stretched, almost like a breath. At first I thought it came from outside the window, but then I heard it again, this time clearer, from the hallway. I opened my door to check, expecting to see a neighbor late at night, but the hallway was pitch black. Motion sensors didn't turn on the lights. That was strange. They always worked. I stood there for a moment, listening. There was nothing. No footsteps, no doors opening, just silence, thick enough to feel in my chest. I went back inside, locked the door, and tried to shake the feeling off. Around 2:40 a.m., I started drifting off to sleep when I heard it again. But this time, the whisper wasn't from the hallway. It was right outside my bedroom door. Closer, lower, dragging the last syllable of my name like it wanted to taste it. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just stared at the door, waiting for the shadow of feet to appear under it. Nothing. Then the doorknob twitched. Once, just enough to make the metal click. I called out, "Who's there?" My voice cracked. The whisper answered immediately. Not like a person responding, but like it had been waiting for me to speak. "I'm here." My whole body went cold. I squeezed my eyes shut just for a second, then opened them again. The doorknob wasn't moving anymore, but the metal round still vibrating, like someone had just let go. I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, I asked my neighbors if they were awake around that time. Everyone said no. One guy looked confused and told me something worse. The motion sensor lights in the hallway had been disabled from the breaker panel, and the only panel for our floor is right next to my door. Last night, I kept every light on. Around 3 a.m., I sat on my bed staring at the hallway through the crack under the door. For a long time, nothing happened. Then a shadow blocked the light. Not fully, just enough to show 2 thin legs standing on the other side. No whisper, no movement, just waiting. Eventually, the shadow slid away, slow and silent. I thought that was the end, until just before sunrise, my phone vibrated. A voicemail. No caller ID. I pressed play. It was my name, whispered, but this time from inside my apartment.